Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. I'm Eric Shamilov. Larry can't make it today, so just me. And very interesting weekend. We could jump right into it. Gold obviously opens up above 5,000. I'm sure all the futures traders out there have noticed that. These Asian market sessions are crazy. Last night was no different. And so many political headlines floating around, so many macro headlines floating around, and it's only January. And I just want to preface, as I've been saying, I think that this year we're going to get an enormous. We're going to have an enormous trend in geopolitical changes. I think we're seeing that big uptick in internal conflict here in the U.S. Another shooting in Minnesota, right? And if you follow a guy that I follow a lot, Ray Dalio, he talks a lot about internal conflict, and he's looking at all this from the lens of big cycles, and this is the kind of thing that happens at the end of cycles where the trust in fiat currency starts to go south. And I think slowly, like a slow moving avalanche, we're seeing that. There's news out in Japan, obviously, with a potential intervention. I'm going to go into the charts on that, but all of this is contributing to things like gold up almost 20% on the year. January is not even over yet. Silver's stratospheric at this point. Incredible move there. So it's a very interesting kind of situation. So let's just dive into the charts. I'll walk you through what I'm looking at for today, and we'll start with gold. So gold broke 5,000, broke actually 5,100, down off its high. I've been extremely bullish on gold, but I would not be a buyer right here. I think a lot of this recent move has actually come on the back of a potential intervention in Japan, and I'll go into the JPY USD. So this you could see JPY is dropping. When JPY is dropping, that means that the yen is strengthening against the dollar. And we had a massive move on Friday, and we had some follow through last night. I don't think they haven't intervened yet, but on Friday there was a lot of interesting stuff going on. The New York Fed started doing rate checks on behalf of the Federal Reserve, acting as their fiscal agent. And so what that means is they contacted all these financial institutions and started to get a rate check on what their quotes are on the yen. So that's a signal to the market that something is coming up. And so the dollar got sold off Friday. It's getting sold off again. And we also had news over the weekend on Canada. Here's the Canadian dollar, which is actually has been strong, but Trump is threatening 100% tariffs if they go ahead and do a deal with China. So for sure, Canada's making overtures to China, and they're trying to hedge the declining relationship with the U.S. Trump is not happy. And so we're seeing this kind of global friction continuing. Everyone thought we were out of the woods last year on tariffs. We're right back in it this year. But I don't think this year is going to be so much about tariffs. And I think what the market is doing is completely ignoring pretty much anything Trump is saying. I think there are bigger forces at play. And you're starting to see the pawns start to move forward and sideways on the global chessboard. China purged its top military people over the weekend. Okay, first time to this scale since 1971. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. A lot of China's proxies are have been hit. Venezuela, Iran, fresh off killing 36,000 of its own people, got hit by Israel and the U.S. last year. So a lot of things that China has been trying to do and position globally have taken a hit, and China is very ambitious. They we will see, I think, a headline from China at some point this year. This is, something that I'm kind of planning on, where we're going to see a headline and it just, the market is going to drop pretty hard on that news. I think this is a year for geopolitical headlines. And just looking at Poly Market, here's something to look forward to for the end of the month. Will there be another U.S. government shutdown by January 31st? Right now, that's getting priced in with an 82% chance. Huge pop in the probabilities. And, I'm looking for volatility towards the end of this month, beginning of February. And maybe this is the trigger to get some real volatility. I don't think we've had real volatility yet. You look at the S&P 500 futures. This is chop and slop. This is what it is, and this is an MO of earnings season. Even though we're getting headlines, the market is reverting the initial reactions. We see that again from last night. The market was down big, came right back right at the open. So a lot of stuff going on here. Looking at this chart today, you see this big fat red line up there. That's your point of control pretty much for all of January. I think we'll be bouncing up and down these levels until we get some real headlines, either from our earnings or potentially this FOMC meeting this week, which is probably going to be, I don't want to say nothing burger, but I mean, the market is pricing in absolutely no rate cuts. I think there's about a 3% chance of something. So that's basically zero. And I mean, all eyes are going to be for March. I don't think the Fed's going to do anything unless the unemployment rate keeps going up, which is currently at 4.6%. But I don't think the Fed is going to be what triggers any kind of volatility. I think it may come from earnings, potentially from tech earnings, where I think all eyes are going to be on capex. I think a big capex spend will be punished. It was celebrated early last year. I think the market's view on that is changing. Where we have a more cautious approach to it, and you could see that in I think charts like Nvidia and like Palantir. Here's a chart of Nvidia, which has pretty much done nothing for the 5 or 6 months. As you can see here, just treading water. Okay, this was a not just retail, but I think institutional darling as well. And it hasn't done anything. I think that's a sea change. You see a lot of rotation within semiconductors on a daily basis, but the big papa, Nvidia, really hasn't done anything over the last 6 months. And then you have a stock like Palantir. Palantir, to me, is the poster child for retail sentiment. At its highs, it has reached unprecedented, historic price to sales multiples. So we could all agree, based on that it is in fact overvalued. But this is another one where it hasn't done anything for months. It has been a frustrating trade for the hardcore bulls out there. I'm actually still short Palantir, and I will be short probably into earnings unless I get a move down to this yellow line, hopefully even lower than that. But a lot of these stocks are hovering around their 200-day moving average, which is a test of a long-term trend. Whenever you hover around that 200-day moving average, that is a test of a long-term trend. I think that's where we're heading in a lot of different stocks. And another area of concern for me is Goldman Sachs and other financial companies. They have been really kind of they've been outperforming, but now it's been it's been the reverse. Goldman took a big hit on Friday. Can't really place my finger on why that is the case, but um, I
Well,
think that
Eric, are you there?
I am here. Who's
Oh,
there?
I'm
Is that
back.
Larry?
Sorry, I've been listening to you, but I'm letting you go. I think Goldman. People are concerned. A lot of these companies, financial, made their numbers barely by trading revenue, and there could be a possibility that there are a lot of bad trades on right now on their balance sheet, Bank America, etc. So that might be a reason that these banks are light. I heard you talking a little bit about the weekend news, which, if people were watching overnight, the S&P futures traded down significantly on the opening and then actually turned positive overnight. And now we're kind of, flattish. And I owe you dinner at your favorite restaurant if gold closes above 5,000 today, which it looks like it probably will, although, it's only 5,050. So either I'll give it to you because it traded over 5,000, or if it settles over five. But these moves are, basically parabolic, especially in silver, the most retail friendly owned commodity out there this weekend. It was very funny. I thought I was texting a friend of mine, but it went into a group chat with like seven guys who are not in the financial market. And I said something about silver, and two guys popped on and were like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. I'm long it, this, that. So, retail is, really pushing that up. Very little liquidity, trading at 109 and change. Gold trading at 5,060. So here we sit. But really, there's a lot of questions out there, just in general about the market, global equities and just U.S. equities, and sort of what's going on. It's like a push and pull. You have, underlying bullishness, and then, you got sort of, I would think, headline bearishness. I mean, I don't know if you're, seeing that, but that's,
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think this recent move up in gold and silver, specifically gold, I think has a lot to do with the pricing in of a potential Japanese intervention into their FX market, which
But
would push the U.S.
can I ask you a question? We've traded this level before. I've traded the yen at over $300 to the US dollar. Okay. So yeah, we're at a higher level than it's been at, but not by a lot. I mean, we were in this handle many times last year. And what does Japanese intervention have to do? They haven't intervened in gold, is up, basically 750 points for the week. I just think, to be honest with you, we're in this type of market where no matter what it is, they say it's bullish for gold. Even if equities are up and there's world peace, it's still bullish for gold. Even when you saw, last week, a lot of the trade was Trump tariffs, with Greenland, and then they took the tariffs off and gold went up another 400 points. So, I think it's operating in its own mindset, and they just use different, you know, talking points to push it up. But today could be interesting. We have option X today, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we'll check out the pricing on that stuff and, see if, what that's showing. And, that's, what I'm
The
looking
thing
at.
about,
Dollar
thing
in
about
general,
gold,
dollar is weak,
I
but
just want to step in and say, yeah, I just wanted to step in and say something about gold, and it's up above 5,000. I am not a buyer right here. I'm actually looking for a dip to get back long. I know you're going to laugh, but I yeah,
$20 in gold is the dip.
is it 20? No, not 20. But what I don't like about gold is, and you know this, I am seeing a big influx of flows into the GLD ETF. That's something that makes me want to take profit. And I think that's where we're at. But another day where gold and silver are going to open up as Asia pumps it up, and it's going to be interesting to see if the U.S. Sells it off as it usually does. I think there's usually weakness in gold after a big move from Asia, so that's what I'm looking for today.
Okay. I mean, we will see. Day has not begun. Interesting. We've seen this trade for a couple of days, you know, in a row, and pretty much for the whole year, where S&P, other than Friday, was outperforming the Nasdaq. So that trade is intact this morning a little bit. You have the S&P flat on the day, which is really amazing. The market opened down 65 handles. So we were down over 1%, and they retraced that in a heartbeat. So I don't know. I got a email from one of our subscribers who basically lives outside of China now, but is very involved with people in China. And, he was like signaling to me that, this thing going on in China right now is very, very negative, for the fact that they will basically invade Taiwan.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. This is what I think is going to happen. This is or try to or take steps in that direction to feel out the world reaction. They love feeling out the world reaction. I don't think they're just gonna we're gonna wake up one day and it's like China's in Taiwan. I think they're gonna they won't move pawns. Maybe they'll start moving their knight or their rook on the chessboard, but I think they're gonna move something. I think the market is gonna react negatively.
but why can't they honestly do something like us? Like where we just go, we went in and we took Maduro. That whole thing ended quickly. Like, I'm not understanding why can't they just implant themselves there, which doesn't seem like for them a very hard thing to do. And then, make maneuvers to, basically annex it back in.
That's not
Um,
their style. That's not their style, and that's not their for they built up a cultural. They're very strong culturally, and their views are embedded thousands of years. So their whole mantra is be so strong that your opponent doesn't even try to fight you. So just invading Taiwan, just you know, like we try to just grab Greenland, that's not really their style.
no. All right. Well, they may change their style. Who knows? I mean,
Who
they
knows?
want it, and I would say they're not happy with the United States and what's going on, and the disrespect. You're saying how cultural they are and all these things, right? But you want to know something? Um, the you know they stand by what they believe, and I think the way that we're treating them is not very good for relations or anything moving forward. So, you know, I think that that's something to keep an eye on. That hasn't happened yet, but it's potentially something that's in the forefront. But it's funny when you look at metals. I get it. It's like, oh yeah, you got to have gold in case. But these things have gone up so much in the last 2 years or even 3 years, and especially now over the last. I mean, silver's up 50% for the month. That thing was up like 280% last year. It's up 50% for the month, and it just continues to move higher. And it's adding, in the last 4 days, it's added more price than the price for the last 200 years. So, it's pretty unbelievable parabolic move. But I think it's very retail owned. So, you got to be a little bit leery and a little bit careful. But the trade that's looking really different to me is the S&P. I mean, how is the S&P green this morning?
I want to just classify this as typical earnings chop and slop. And I mean, it was another tariff headline that got us down over the weekend.
No, 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 no. I don't think that was got us down at all. No, this was all China related. This was big China news. Okay, 100% tariff on Canada. If you believe that, I'll sell you a bridge. I mean, come on, he ain't doing one thing. The guy is Taco Bell. Nobody's falling for that nonsense. So I don't think it had to do with that. I definitely think it had to do with the Chinese government basically extracting their two top leaders. Okay, that is big news. Okay, so um,
Yeah,
you know,
I think it is big news. That to the extent that they did that hasn't been done in China since 1971. So yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. But the market's kind of taking it in stride right now. We have a 27-point straddle here at the open.
pretty low.
Is it? I mean, where's the market go? Like, do you expect the market to come in today after recovering that gap? Do you
I have
expect?
no idea. I don't know, but when you're selling a $27 straddle on a $7,000 instrument, that's really low. That's all I'll say. Really, really low. So you know, and right now, it's the same. It's the same trade. Outside. I think our markets are quiet because people are not even trading it. I think they're in other places. They're in the metals, they're in currencies, they're in things that are moving. The S&P is flat on the year pretty much. Maybe up again small. And this year I don't believe will be that easy. So, we'll see. But I don't think you're saying it's really the tariff headline that got us down. I just can't see that. I mean, why would anyone sell anything off of that? Now, listen, the fact that China basically extracted their number one military guy is pretty unbelievable, actually.
Yeah,
And I think that set the market off a little bit. But again, you know, $27 straddle is not worth selling. We have our product LSP, the S&P spread trader, and we've only made 3 or 4 trades for the year. They've all been winning trades, but there's been 15 trading days. Usually we trade every single day. But there's too much risk and not enough reward right now. I think a little of that hurt us last year. We ended up okay, but we were a little bit too impatient and sold some straddles. I'm sorry, sold some out of the money put in call spreads, and it cost us. So I really don't want to enter that arena, right now. I mean, I don't want to. I know you're Mr. Iron Condor. I just don't. You know, you're selling both sides, and there's a pretty good chance you're going to lose on it,
I'm
minimum.
looking right now. I mean, with my initial read of the pre-market, I'm thinking 69.50, 68.75, something like that, on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know why. It's funny. Like gold opened up so much, right? And SPOs were down 65, and then SPOs come all the way back, and gold doesn't really come in. It's interesting that that's the case. It's like, it's a relentless buy when they turn that button, which we've seen. Listen, we've seen it in Bitcoin, we've seen it pretty much in everything. you know like I would say to you, you're looking for a dip to buy, and I think sellers live lower, and buyers can continue to buy today and every day because they're not down money. But once they get down a little money, they can't buy anymore. And then all of a sudden you get that kind of Bitcoin type move or correction. So I would be careful in buying a dip. And when you say buying a dip, gold is 5,070. Okay. On Monday, it was 4,450. So it's up 600 points in less than four trading days. So I mean that's a really big move. So what level could you buy? There, gold never closed above 4,900 or 4,800 or 4,700 or even 4,600. So what is the level? I mean, there's no way you could look at a chart and go, "Hey, this is a great level to buy," because it's parabolically gone up 500 points. So when you say you want to buy a pullback, what kind of pullback?
Well,
100
maybe
points is only
yeah.
2%.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's 100 points down. I'm looking for 200.
100. We're going to go down 100 today, potentially. Why? I mean, when they reverse it, it's going to go down a lot. I mean, it's up a lot, and already today, we've reversed over 50 points, 60 points. We're going to reverse, at least another 40, 50, 70. I mean, it's
So
parabolic.
yeah, it is parabolic.
Can
So
I
I'm
see
looking
the
at this
closes
RSI on
in
the
gold, the
15-minute
last four
chart,
closes?
and so I would be looking for this RSI to dip towards oversold territory, and then I'd be looking for another buy. I don't know what level that would translate to. It could be 100 points down, it could be 50, it could be 150. But when that RSI hits an oversold level, which it hasn't been at for
How can
multiple,
RSI get an oversold level on a 50 or 100 point down move in something that just moved up 600 points? I don't even know how RSI is going to
well,
give
it
you an
could
oversold
do
reading on a
that,
50-point move. That's a 1% move. The thing
right?
just went up 15%. How could it be oversold if it comes in 1 or 2 or even 3% or 5? How could
If
it
it
be
does that,
considered oversold?
yeah, if it does that quick, it could potentially get oversold. But that's like that's like a flashing green light. That's not a full out green light. You obviously have to assess, but I am looking for that to get oversold before I start thinking about buying again.
Well, I think you're going to probably at that point have to wait a really pretty long time. I mean, literally, how is RSI going to oversold on a commodity that's up 15% already on the year, maybe more? Last year up 70. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it will. I'm looking for the closes. And, you know, like I'll go over the closes with you. I don't think. Okay, here's the closes of last week. You ready? Oh, this doesn't look right. I, I'd say it. So we started the week at 4,600. So we're up 500. We're up like 13%. I mean, that's not a lot compared to silver's up like 25%. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I just think it's a little ridiculous, but I do know once you start to see selling, which may or not take place today or tomorrow or whenever, you want to be out of the way of that just because. And you may catch, listen, I don't know what you're trading gold for, but if you're trading it for $10 or whatever, maybe you get, that type of trade, but you don't want to get caught. And there's a lot of interesting things out there, like dollar euro is starting to move again. Um, like I don't know. I mean, our country, it just seems so whacked. What's going on and the amount of forceful nonsense that happened. I talked a little bit about it last week when Trump went to Davos, and he's on their territory telling them they suck. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, and he comes back and says he has a framework for a deal, and then the president of the Netherlands says there's not a deal, not even close. They probably didn't even meet. That's what's so crazy. He could say anything. But markets are very interesting. The S&P.
Speaking of commodities, we were talking about commodities a lot. You've been involved in the natural gas trade.
Yeah.
Where do you go? What do you think will we go from here? Uh,
Well, it's really, you talk about backwardization and all your stuff you look at. I'm looking at March natural gas at $3, 3.80. Okay. So is it really at $5 and $6? Yeah, it is for the deliverable contract, but natural gas in general is, sort of stagnant. This is I don't even know if it's considered a force majeure, but whatever it is, they need a lot of nat gas, I guess. But, like
well,
I always say,
it gapped up on a storm that everybody knew was coming, right? And that's
yeah,
probably
but I think the storm actually met expectations as far as how bad it could be. I mean, I don't know. I thought the temperatures in New York were going to be colder. They were. I mean, wind chill, it was like around zero, but, in Wisconsin, it was like 50 below zero, like real temperature. So, they got hit with some stuff. I just think today is going to be interesting. I'm waiting for 9:30. I'm going to short gold for a trade, and I can't believe where it is. It's actually incredible that it's over 5,000. It was 3,500. Last year was 3,200. I mean, it's huge. I mean, this is huge moves for. Let me ask you this. I know you've been a gold bull and you've been right, and you've done well, but like in reality, what is gold going to do for you if there's a nuclear attack, or there's problems in China, or whatever? It's not doing anything for you. What are you going to do? Walk around with a gold coin? I mean, what do you think? It's replacing money? I don't get it. It's very, very interesting,
well,
the
it's hard
market.
money. Right? There's a few different types of money, and they've historically uh, taken each other's spots. You have hard money. That's
Dude,
gold.
I
That's
want USD. Okay, USD here. Let me.
USD.
This is.
USD. There's not one currency that is has survived over the last 200 or 300 years without. That's the same exact currency that it was back then.
I would think that that's going to not be a problem. This is what I want.
Okay.
Okay, Ben. I want Ben. A lot of Ben. Okay, that's what
I
I
like
want.
Ben.
I
He
know.
was
It's funny because
father.
all of the people
He was like
and
Elon Musk a little bit.
all of the people that want these alt type things, whether it be Bitcoin and explaining that, or gold. The other day, this is a true story, and the guy is actually a genius, but he rated the capital. during the insurrection. He's a really interesting guy, but he's whacked. He thinks John F. Kennedy is still alive. He thinks that John F. Kennedy Jr. is whatever. He thinks that Vance isn't real. He's a robot. This is a guy. I swear on my life, I'll get the guy on that was with me. He's like, you got to own silver. This is silver was like $50, $60. I mean, this guy is a genius, but that's what's running the show right now. Like people that want to have alternative things that are conspiracy theory, don't believe in the government, that type of thing. And basically retail has come along and adapted these mantras.
Well, you're missing the central bank part of the equation here, and they're not going by
How about if
conspiracy.
I tell you retail is 50 times the size of any central bank, okay, in buying when they're buying? 50 times the size. What? Let me ask you, India, how much gold could they buy today? Like, they can't buy enough to move the market. I mean, silver and gold are trading trillions. I mean, they can't. No central bank can, but retail can. This is GameStop squared. It's GameStop squared. Okay, they're all in. They got their listen. They're like I picture you, all black outfit, black chair, sitting in your whatever in a chat room with 5,000 guys, 25,000 guys, and you're talking about why you got to own silver or why you got to own gold or why you got to own GameStop, and then what happens is they've realized, which is amazing, that the government hasn't really even looked into it. They looked into it a little bit, with the BS with Hello Kitty and all that stuff. But what they should do is understand how this anatomy of the rigging takes place. And what it does is people buy options, okay, in massive size. I mean, it's crazy. So they're buying out of the money options for no money. Each guy is putting in $25,000 and they're jamming the market makers or guys on gamma. Like this is like the ultimate gamma squeeze in history almost. Goes up like against GameStop. It's a massive gamma squeeze. They're going to come out of the gate today probably buying options again. Although I did see volumes have been lightening up a little bit on the option side in the metals. So that's interesting. So I don't know what that means. And there's no price that is good enough. But I just thought it was funny because I put something in a wrong chat and then like six guys owned silver in the chat. Like they're telling me about silver this and silver that and silver stocks. And it reminds me, it's funny, my grandparents in the 80s, my grandmother, was awesome, but she was a trader. She was like trading CNBC when she was like 88. She was day trading. I'm telling you. But they bought so much silver and gold and they got freaking wiped. I mean, literally wiped out. I mean, completely wiped out, for their investment in silver and gold in the 80s. So I think I'm seeing a lot of that now. And I'm not saying it's going to happen in a day or two, but, you know, I think the real price of silver shouldn't even be above $50. But what do I know? I know you're going to tell me they need it for data centers. Now, let me ask you a question. You're a data center, silver's $25. Okay. You're buying silver for your data center. Now you're paying 6 times the amount. Are you really buying silver for your data center? No, you're going to replace it with something else.
So you and I talked about what the approximate price is when they start thinking about replacing, and we're approaching that price. Now that it's at 110.
I
So
don't even know. You're making that up because
yeah,
data centers didn't even exist 2 years ago. Okay, so I
but not
mean,
it's solar panels too. There is a break even price where
no, but they
uh,
they're mining. Someone was telling me when you're mining like copper or something, you still get silver. there is still silver. Like I listen, I don't know enough about it. I'm just looking at it as a
Yeah, it's the
trade.
same thing with natural gas. When you're pumping oil, you get natural gas.
Yeah,
They have to burn it off, you know.
yeah,
But when silver's at 110, it's a nice little perk for a metal miner.
yeah. I mean, it's just an interesting trade today. I mean, it's amazing where the market is
Yeah.
from where it was last night. It's up almost 100 handles on air. Like there's nothing. So we'll see. And the funny thing is, they open like gold in a panic. And is gold really in a panic? Like I don't know. S&P is going to make an all-time high, and so will gold. I mean, does that make any sense to you? I mean, listen, they gave it away last week, but we'll see. We'll see
I would
how
watch.
today
I would
goes.
watch the yen, for a clue about where gold is going to go next.
Oh, stop! I
Well,
love you. You got to stop.
well,
Come
look,
on.
yen
Wait,
strength.
was it watching it 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago? Now, if you think if the yen goes to 148, gold's going to collapse? I mean, the yen. I was in Japan
If
less than
it
a
goes
year
to
ago.
148, gold's gonna not collapse. But if it goes back to 158, maybe we get a big pullback in gold.
I have
And
no idea what Listen, I don't know what they're looking at, but we're getting close to the opening. Markets are doing their thing, and we'll see. We'll see how it ends today. You know, honestly, it's an amazing, amazing, amazing move that the Spoos are back. And then I don't know. Have you been watching these trades that these guys are? I'm not going to use the word manipulating, but the guys like on Friday, Russell was down 2% with the Nasdaq up almost 1%. Okay, and the Dow was down 400. So all they're doing, it's the same culprits doing the same thing. They're unwinding trades. They don't have like market preference. They just are, today, oh, they'll buy SPOOs and sell NASDAQ. And then later they'll unwind and buy NASDAQ and sell S&P and buy Dow. And I mean, it seems like the same trade over and over and over again. Just my opinion.
what do you think of small caps? Somebody from the chat also asked what your thoughts are.
I mean, I think they're a safe haven this year. So I
That's
think,
so incredible that small caps, that you think they're a not that I'm saying you're wrong, but you just never think of small caps as a safe haven.
I mean, I don't. I mean, they're buying Boeing like it's a safe. They're buying everything, literally. You know, you know. But we'll see. We'll see how all of that goes.
So 27-point straddle, you are a buyer of that.
I am not a buyer of that. I'm just not a seller.
You're
Not
just
a
watching.
buyer. I'm just
Watching
not a
is
seller.
good. Look,
What?
this is a slop, and yeah, watching is good for, I think, until we get some real news that put some meat on the bone on some sort of trade. I want to say tech earnings are going to come out and we're going to have action, but that's not a guarantee either. What I think could be a nice trigger for volatility could be, I don't know, I don't know if you caught the podcast at the beginning, but 82% probability of government shutdown by January 31st.
You think? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Was the government shut down for months
it
and the
was.
market went up every day? So I don't think that that's gonna really mess with anybody. But that's you know that's really not impactful. You know, not impactful.
All right.
So.
We shall
You know,
see.
all right. Well, listen, we'll wrap a little early. And, just keep an eye on, I guess the yen. So you're saying if the yen goes up, that's bad for gold, or if the yen
Yeah,
goes,
I think if yen goes up,
but the
gold.
yen's been going up. I went to Japan 6 months ago. It was 130,
I mean,
132.
no. I mean up like if it weakens against the dollar.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe that'll be the next fake story, but I haven't seen that at all. And the Bank of Japan is, always lurking out there in general, but I just don't see at these levels such a reason to intervene. I mean, they've literally, you know, their bond market has blown up. Okay. I don't know. Like, I think they want a weak. I think they want it weak, you know, just my opinion. Why not? It helps their economy. But, we'll have to see today. And, again, not a lot of action on equities. People are focused on other areas. Keep an eye on the currency, keep an eye on gold, keep an eye on S&P. And again, I don't see a trade on that straddle today or even the wings. I mean, maybe you pick a direction if you want to sell an out of the money put or call. But dude, a $30 out of the money put spread, like the ones we would do, are like under $3. I mean, that's not that big, right?
No, so you're gonna have to settle for a little bit of premium if you want to do something. Premium's dried out.
Hmm. All right. Um, that's it for today. I wish everybody luck, and we'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy. Peace.